Hey everyone, so in this video I'm going to show you how you can deploy Rocket.Chat using Docker. I already have a server up and running. What I'm gonna do is just log into the server. Let me make the font a little bigger. Yeah, that looks good. So I'm gonna log into the server using SSH first. Alright. So before anything else, make sure you have Docker installed, right? So if I run like docker info, Docker is not found. So how do you install Docker? In general, refer to your distributions documentation. In this case, I'm gonna just use a convenience script, uh, get.docker.com sh should be good. Okay, so this will install the latest, add the Docker official repositories, and install latest Docker stuff overall, right? So okay, all right, looks like Docker is installed. If I run docker info, let's just check if everything is running or not. Status docker, it is, so let's run it one more time. Oh, I guess I need to add the Docker, like current user, to the Docker group. Now if this is a production server, I don't think you need to do that. Maybe just use the sudo commands, but in this case I'm just going to add the user to the group. So user mod -hg docker ubuntu, right? And then I'm just going to run new group so that the new group changes are applied. And next, let's just run docker info again. Yeah, my internet connection is not that good, it seems like. Let me just log in again. Actually, I don't know why that's not working. I have had mixed experiences with the new group command. I have no idea how that works, but sometimes it works as I expect it to, sometimes it doesn't. So okay, so relogin worked, so this is working fine. So the next thing you need to make sure is that your Docker Compose version, right? So Docker Compose. Okay, so if I open up the Docker Compose repository, yeah, my internet connection is really bad today. I have no idea why. But in general, like if you run docker, then space compose, right? And let's just run the version subcommand. And if I hit enter, you'll see that first of all, this command succeeds, right? In the older Docker versions, this would throw an error that compose is an unknown command, right? But in the latest Docker versions, compose is a subcommand of Docker. This is what's called like a plugin. So for example, in case of Ubuntu, if I run apt cache search docker compose plugin, it should find it. Yeah, so this is the name of the package, docker-compose-plugin. So I can just do something like this: sudo apt get remove docker compose plugin, this will remove the package, and the point of it is to kind of show you what exactly the output of this command would look like. So now if I run the docker compose command again, version, you'll see that compose is not a docker command, right? Anyway, so I'm gonna reinstall the package, install docker compose plugin dash y, right? So it will install it. So if I like open up the docker compose repository, it's right now the default branch is v2, right? The latest version of the previous one was 1.28. So if I open that branch, you'll see that this one is written in Python, not Go. It should have like requirements.txt, requirements.txt. So overall, this is like a Python project, but they switched it to Go with v2. And for our Docker Compose files, you need the latest Docker Compose version for it to actually you like convert the templates to the right config correctly, right? So Docker Compose, yeah, working fine. So what's next? Next is open up our GitHub organization, like our Rocket.Chat organization on GitHub. Then just simply search Docker. And this is the first repository, docker.official.image. This is the one that hosts our official compose file right here. So I'm gonna open it on a new tab. I'm gonna pick the raw file. So while that's happening, and go back to your terminal and just create a small directory. Just a set. Just create a small directory. I'm gonna name it Rocket.Chat. Oh no. And in the meantime, just copy the whole compose file contents, and in here again create a new directory that I just failed to do. Okay. So inside of Rocket.Chat, just create a Docker Compose file. So you can name it docker-compose.yml, which is like the older default file name. But now you can also name it compose, like interesting. Compose.yml. This is just the same as docker-compose or compose.yml. So I'm just gonna I use the short name because, well, it's shorter. It makes things easier. So inside of the file, I'm just gonna paste the whole contents of the Docker Compose file, and then save and exit. So once you do that, create another file, .env, open it up. Go back to your go back to the repository. You'll see a env.example. So there is this file as well, which I actually need to delete. Yeah, I need to delete this file, but go back to the env.example file. Do the same thing, just copy the whole thing in here. Now here's the thing, by default you'll see that every single environment variable, or the way you configure things for Docker Compose or our like Rocket.Chat and Docker Compose, or everything is commented out. You don't necessarily need to like touch every single one of these options, maybe except for the release variable. By default, if release is empty, it defaults to the latest tag. Now latest tag is different from a version, right? So if I open up hub.docker.com. Let's wait. Okay. So I'm gonna search for Rocket.Chat. Not there. Rocket.Chat / Rocket.Chat. So this is the image. So not this one. Sorry. Let me just search by the. Yeah. This is the one. So Rocket.Chat / Rocket.Chat. If I go to tags, we'll see that we have a latest tag. So it always tracks the latest develop, but we don't recommend using it because it's not exactly recommended. It's not the best practice to use the latest tag to kind of keep yourself updated, because the latest tag might get overwritten by some image that might be incompatible with your current running instance, right? That's kind of the simplest way to put it. So using the latest tag is not recommended, but if you just want to kind of quickly start it and see where it goes, you can easily just kind of leave everything as is and just run docker compose up-d. You can easily do that. But if you are thinking about production, what I would recommend is actually like setting it to a version, pinning it to a version. The way you do that, there are two ways. So first is you can go to releases.rocket.chat /stable/info. So you can run that command and it will give you like what the latest stable version is. This is the recommended version. We always recommend deploying the latest stable version. Okay, and you can do that by going to releases.rocket.chat /stable/info. The other way is you can just go to our GitHub repository, Rocket.chat again, and then go to releases, and you'll see that the very first one should be the latest stable version. It should be marked with the latest green indicator. So just grab the latest version that you can find with using either of those methods and you should be good. And that is again the recommended version, like for a production deployment. If you want to run it in production, like if you actually want to use it for actual people, and test it, then we recommend pinning it to a specific version, and that recommended version is the current latest stable version. And if you don't care about that, you just want to start it up, play around with it, then you can just leave everything as is and just kind of move on from there. I'm going to show you real quick by not modifying the .env file. So release, you'll see that it's commented out. I'm just going to run docker compose up-d. This will pull the images, of course, and then deploy the whole thing in the server. Now while that's happening, I'm just gonna pause the recording and come back when it's done. And I'm back. The docker command succeeded. It pulled the images and started the containers. So I can just check it out with docker compose ps command. So you'll see that both of the services are running. Now all I have to do is just open up the IP address and put the port number 3000, and that should bring me to my Rocket.Chat instance. Now let me just quickly show you this first, complete the whole thing. Rocket.Chat community is just enterprise now. I don't know. Put just other, I guess. Um, we are pretty big now and worldwide. Next, I'm just gonna continue as standalone, confirm, and that should take me to my Rocket.Chat instance. If I go to workspace, I'm just gonna do like info real right here. Yeah, the running version is 5.4.0. And one of the quick things that I want to show you is if I just do like Docker images, you will see that the pulled images are this one and the tag is the latest. So I didn't set anything to the release environment variable, so it defaulted to latest. Right? Now, what I'm gonna do now is open up the .env file and put an actual like a set different version in there. For example, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do 5.4.0, right? And now let's just do like docker compose down dash v. So this will like stop and remove the containers along with the volumes and networks like the docker compose created. So it's gonna remove the whole thing. So let's wait for the command to finish. Alright, that's done. Now what I'm going to do is like run docker image prune, or let's do this, just create RMI registry. Yeah, I'm just going to remove or to delete the image with the latest tag. Alright, if I do docker images, and I have only one image. So if I do like docker compose up dash d now, you'll see that it will again pull Rocket.Chat image, of course. But let's just wait for this to finish, and then I'll show you something interesting. So this now will, yeah, the server is down, so this makes sense. Alright, that's done. So now if I do like docker images, you'll see that now the image name is the same, but the tag is 5.4.0, right? So the docker image tag maps one-to-one with our release versions. Okay, so this is important to know. Maybe except for the latest tag, and I think there is another tag called release candidate, which is kind of similar to, no, not release candidate, sorry, a develop tag, which is kind of similar to latest, but it is, well, it tracks the develop branch in our GitHub repository, right? So except for that, any other like tag kind of maps one-to-one with to our actual release versions. There are also like Alpine images, so if you want to kind of know more about them, just go to this link r/rocket.chat/rocket.chat/tags, and you'll find everything here. So the latest tag, a developed version with the Alpine base, same with this, just with Ubuntu base. I think Ubuntu or Debian. Is it Debian? Let me check. If I do this, if I do DC, this release. Okay, so this is Debian. So this is Debian base, but we also have Alpine bases. I can kind of show you, for example, Alpine. Search by Alpine will show you 5.4.0 Alpine. So choose whichever version you want and set that in the .env file like this. Or if you want to go one step ahead and maybe use the Alpine base, then just use this kind of write it here, right, like this, and yeah, then redeploy it and it will switch to the Alpine case. But that's the gist. So once I do that, if I go back, come back here, yeah, you'll see that it reloaded automatically. It'll ask for the same details again. Okay, put everything, enterprise, other, continue standalone, and this should deploy Rocket.Chat 5.4.0 as well, just like the other one. Yeah, 5.4.0. Just the difference is that now we are tracking, we're pinned to a specific version instead of using a tag that might get overwritten by something else. So if you pull the image again at a later date, it might pull something so different that it might actually break your install instead of actually like upgrading it. So pin down the versions, and yeah, that's how easy it is to kind of deploy Rocket.Chat with Docker. You don't need to mess around with the compose file at all. Just edit the .env file, which is just a key value pair, and you should be good. All right, thank you. I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.